Welcome to Sinful's Horror Stories. Tonight's video is of the paranormal kind. These stories were submitted by viewers like yourselves. Be sure to sit back, relax, stay sinful. Story number 1. My name is Mark and I'm 28 years old. When I was 24, I managed to land this really good job, located just outside of the city where I lived. Once I was offered the job, they started me on a 3-month trial basis, just to see if I liked the job and was good at it, that kind of thing. What was good is the company provided me an apartment to live in temporarily for the 3-month trial basis. When I arrived at the apartment building, it was very old, but they had refurbished it so it was modern, but still had a classic feel. I got inside my apartment and had a look around. Wasn't anything special, but it was nice enough. My apartment had 3 rooms, a large open area which was the kitchen, seating area with the TV, a bathroom, and a bedroom. The first night I had no issues. I got there late, had a quick bite to eat, put some stuff away, and then crashed into bed. Went to my new job the following morning. It wasn't long before things went in a dark direction for me though. I think it was the second night in the apartment. I had got home late from my job after a long induction day. I ate pizza, grabbed myself a glass of water, shut my bedroom door and watched a movie on my iPad before passing out shortly after. That night I had a terrible dream, or nightmare I should say. I was laying in my bed in the apartment in the dark, and I could hear footsteps slowly approaching the bedroom door on the other side. I started to see the door handle turn, and then I woke up. Okay, not so bad, but it was just a nightmare I had thought. However, fast forward to the next night. I had the same dream again, only it went on for longer. I could hear the same footsteps again, and the door handle being turned, but I didn't wake up. The door slowly opened. Before I could see who was opening the door, that's when I woke up. I was slightly out of breath, and not only that my bedroom door was slightly open. I always close my bedroom door no matter where I am, so I didn't forget to close it. But maybe it just opened by a draft or something. After all, this was a dated apartment building. The first 2 dreams I thought were just bad dreams, and the door being open was just a coincidence. And at that point I really didn't think anything sinister was going on. Although this was unusual for me, I never have nightmares. I'm someone who rarely dreams at all, let alone 2 bad dreams in a row, exactly the same. The 3rd night is when it got worse. I had the same dream once again, the footsteps, the door opening, and in the 3rd dream I caught a glimpse of who was opening the door. As a wooden door slowly creaked open, there was a black silhouette stood at the doorway, my bedroom, watching me. It was all black except the eyes. The eyes were white. That's the last thing I remember before waking up out of breath and in a cold sweat. I saw my bedroom door was left wide open. This was starting to become a concern. I didn't brush it off this time as a bad dream and a coincidence. This was now on my mind a little bit. I had the same nightmare once again, and the pattern followed. The dream went on for longer. The footsteps, the door handle, the door opening, and that black figure slowly approaching the foot of the bed. I remember in the dream I was led there frozen, watching that thing get closer and closer to me, and then I woke up once again sweating, out of breath. The bedroom door was once again wide open, not how I left it. I did my best to focus on my job at work, but I have to say I was very distracted. That night after coming home from work, I tried to think rationally and not to think too much about the dreams. So what I did is I had a hot shower, made myself some dinner, then I closed the bedroom door. This time I put a chair in front of the door, just for extra protection. I got in bed and watched a relaxing movie and tried to wind down, in hopes I won't have the same nightmare again. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I did have the same dream, and it was worse one yet. In the dream, I could see the door, hear the footsteps approaching, but there wasn't a chair in front of it. However, unlike before where the door opens, there were 3 very loud thumps hitting the door, till finally it swung open. The black figure approached the foot of my bed a lot faster this time. I remember closing my eyes. I opened them shortly after and saw the black figure right in front of me, with those white eyes staring right through me. All I could hear was ringing in my ears, and a faint high-pitched screaming, and I felt like I was choking. I woke up sitting up and letting out a scream while trying to breathe. I was sweating so heavily. I was finding it very difficult to catch my breath. I eventually calmed down and took a sip of water next to my bed, and I saw the bedroom door wide open, and the chair I had blocking it was on the other side of the room, on the floor. After calming down, I was crying a little while. I felt like my life was just threatened, and this wasn't just a bad dream. This was something paranormal and very sinister out to harm me. Somehow I still went into work despite everything. Thankfully, that day I was allowed to leave early after being distracted most of the morning. After returning to the apartment, everything just felt off about the place. It felt cold and like something didn't want me there. I really didn't want to spend another night in there. To be honest, I didn't want to be in there another second. I packed my bags and got the first train back to my old apartment in the city. I called that job and told them it wasn't for me. I didn't want to be alone, so I spent the next few nights at my parents' house. I was actually scared to sleep for a while and fell into a little bit of depression. I really think if I stayed there one more night and had one more dream, whatever that thing was, an entity, as I think now, would have killed me in my sleep. I managed to start sleeping again, and thankfully I didn't have the dream anymore. There was something more terrifying, however. Although I didn't have those dreams anymore, they didn't leave my mind either, and I started to look things up on the internet about the paranormal, ghosts, nightmares, all that kind of thing. And at one point I decided to search the apartment building I was staying in. And one of the things I read made my blood run cold. There was a man staying in the same room as me, in a similar situation as me. A company was letting him stay there on a trial period. The man died in his sleep. He was suffocated. Looking back now, I think that man experienced the same thing as me. I thank God I left when I did. Otherwise, I'm certain that entity would have killed me. Story number 2. My name is Ronnie. This story happened only 6 months ago. My girlfriend and I both study at college. I work with my dad at his garage when I get some free time to earn some extra money. My girlfriend Jenny babysits, house sits, and does some dog walking to earn extra cash. Most of the time when she's working, she will FaceTime me because she would bring her laptop with her to study, and I would keep her company while I also studied. Jenny was house sitting for a night as the owner was away. She wanted to FaceTime me, but I was planning to go to the gym, play some basketball. Jenny told me that she really wanted to FaceTime, as she felt alone, and the house she was watching felt a bit odd, whatever that meant. To be a good boyfriend, I stayed home and called her on FaceTime. I thought it would be a good chance to catch up on some work as well. So that evening I called Jenny and we talked a little bit. I asked her what she was doing and how the house was. She said she was doing some college work and the house was a bit off. I asked her what she meant. She told me she didn't really know, just that the house was making her feel weird, and that's why she wanted to FaceTime. I didn't quite know what she meant, but either way I tried to calm her down and keep her distracted. During the call I looked up to the screen and saw Jenny's head down, focusing on her work. Then there was a black figure peering around the corner. My initial thought was the FaceTime had lost connection. The screen had gone funny. Sometimes it would do that, and it was also raining. That always made my Wi-Fi cut out. I said, "Jenny?" I didn't get a response, and then I went, "Ah," in a sigh of frustration. That's when Jenny looked up and said, "What's wrong?" "Sorry, I was just writing something." I said, "Oh, I thought the connection went." But no, the connection was fine. The thing was that black figure was still peering around the corner from the hallway. I asked Jenny what that was behind her. Jenny then turned around, but before she could look, that black figure dashed away, was gone out of sight. It didn't appear to fade away. It just moved. It happened so quick, but I was certain of what I saw. Jenny turned back at me and said, "What?" "There's nothing there." So I just told her it was nothing, probably just a glitch on the screen. Although I have to say that was freaking me out a lot. I couldn't focus on studying anymore after that, but I stayed on FaceTime with Jenny as she studied. I was messing around on my phone while keeping an eye on the screen, and then the light in the hallway turned off. Jenny turned around. I said, "Jen, what's going on? Someone home?" She said she didn't know and went out to turn the light back on. I was watching the screen intensely, worrying about Jen. The light turned back on and Jen shortly returned. I asked her if everything was okay and why did the light turn off. She told me it was fine and she checked the house, but no one was home. She didn't really know why the light went out. I was really starting to understand what she meant. There was something strange about that house. I was talking to Jen and making sure she was all right. Then I saw that same black figure in the hallway again. This time it dashed past the room Jen was in. Jenny turned around. She heard it go past as well. That's when I said, "Jen, I think you should leave that house." She explained she wanted to, but it was her job. I had a really bad feeling and insisted she leave immediately. The hallway light turned off again at that point. The black figure ran past the doorway again. I didn't see it, but both Jen and I heard it run past. I told Jen to go outside and text me the address of the house, and that I'll pick her up in the car. The last thing I saw on FaceTime was Jen stand up about to collect her things when the laptop was thrown onto the floor. The call ended. I called for Jen's name a few times. That's when I ran to my car and tried to call her. After a few tries, thankfully she picked up. She was okay. She told me she ran outside and she was on her way to a nearby store, that I also knew I would pick her up there. I met up with Jen and asked if she was okay. She told me how frightened she was. I was scared myself, thinking she was going to be in danger. She said something threw her laptop on the floor. She picked it up and ran downstairs toward the front door, and as she was leaving the house, a black figure was stood at the end of the hallway, watching her. That was when I told her that's what I saw earlier when I asked what was behind her. Jen and I have gone over this night a lot, and we both agree that there was something paranormal going on. Something didn't want her there, was possibly out to harm her. The weird thing was how she told me that she got the job, which was through a website. She never met or spoke to the homeowner either, which makes this story a lot more weird and that much scarier. Story number 3. I was living in a house in Laguna Beach that had been there since the 1920s. In its history, it had been a speakeasy, a brothel, and a house for smuggling illegal immigrants. One day, my new wife and I were having an argument. I couldn't even recall what it was about. She walked down the block to get a cup of coffee and cool off, and I was all alone in the house. From my bedroom, I could look across the hall into the bathroom, then through the bathroom and down the other hall. I was standing at my dresser, and I just noticed movement out of the corner of my eye, and looked down there. There was, and honest to God, this gives me goosebumps just typing it, 17 years later, a black figure. It was maybe 3 feet tall, and it was only vaguely humanoid. It looked like black scribbles, like someone had scribbled a human shape, but the scribbles moved like electricity arcing. That's the best way to describe it. There was no sound that I could remember. I distinctly remember when I saw it, I wasn't afraid. Then it noticed me looking at it. I can't say it turned around, it just focused on me. Then I was scared. I didn't move, didn't scream, nothing. I was just frozen because it just fucking came at me. It rushed down the hall towards me. I have no idea what it intended, but as soon as it entered the bathroom, the door closest to me just slammed shut. Then I screamed. I yelled for my wife. She wasn't home. I went outside into the daylight. Didn't go back in until she got home 10 minutes later. Ooh, ghost stories. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Hope you enjoyed those stories tonight. Please be sure to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe for future scary stories. Email your true scary stories to thesinfulsavant@gmail.com. The email will be in the description box below as well. Till we meet again, stay sinful.